were you thinking of becoming a recording artist, or were you just thinking about Broadway, or what were you thinking when you?
Honestly, I wanted to make records.
Okay.
I always wanted to be a recording artist and tour. So, but to answer your question, did I finish? I didn't finish because after a few years, like 2.5, one summer I came home, and during this summer, I started working. A friend of mine who graduated from high school. We were old friends. He called me and said, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm working with this production studio and they need some songwriters. So if you want to come out, could you come out and just check it out? You may like it. And I did. And I started writing songs and I was having so much fun. And I was only supposed to just be doing that like part-time, you know?
Yeah.
I started writing songs for other artists. And in that summer, I placed a few songs and made money. I'm like, wait a minute. It's like, things are kind of like taking off for me. And this is like another type of, it was like college, but outside of college,
Yeah.
And so I talked to my mom. I'm like, I just wanted to let me take some time off and pursue this because this is really what I want to do. So I want to pursue this because to be honest, I was bored to tears, and it was like, that wasn't my passion.
Yeah.
So I took that summer off and I never went back. And within the first 2 years or so, I had already placed so many songs. And the last song that I really placed was the Gota Love Thang with CeCe Peniston. After being there so long. And
wow.
I was all in. I was all in. So that project and all the songs that I had placed lots of songs, Didn't Even Know, just a lot of different songs, I was writing house music at the time.
Oh, mainly house. Okay, mainly house, yeah.
Mainly house. I was doing some R&B. The R&B stuff was really, because after being there a few years, I was like, okay, they were like, let's start working on your album. And so the We Gotta Love Thing song was supposed to be for my debut album. So they talked me into giving this song up and giving it to CeCe because I was not here for it at the time. And I was like, what? No. But I didn't understand how important songwriting was. So I placed it on her and it was her second single after Finally. And it did very well. So that was an excellent lesson. Yeah. But yeah, that's how it all.
Now, unlike most recording artists, they get signed and then they get all the contracts thrown in at them. For yourself, though, how valuable was it not being a recording artist, but joining in and learning it from the songwriting points early on?
Very good question. The songwriting part, I'm so grateful that I learned it that way, because had I done it the opposite way, I can't even fathom how that would be. I mean, because to me, like I always try when I talk to young artists, I always encourage them to write, because that is like that's a stronger foundation for you. Like if you have that, no one can take that away from you. Mm-hmm. It's like if you have that ability, you can always create, whether it's for you or for anyone else, and you could always eat. You know what I mean? Because you know how this business is so inconsistent. Yeah. And it's like that was the most valuable lesson that I learned, because I had been writing for years, but I never took it serious. I was like, yeah, you know what I mean? But it wasn't until I put it to music till when I went to with my friend. That was my first time seeing how writing a song, when I'm writing these poems or whatever, put it all clicked for me.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that it happened that way. Because that's really what got my deal, because everything I did, and then coming from church, being a minister of music, I did all my backgrounds, everything. So I put a signature on everything I did. So every song I wrote, I demoed. And then I was with a company, most of the songs that other people wrote, they wanted me to demo. So, you know, the record company, so RCA at the time was like, okay, who is this girl on all of these demos? You know what I mean? And they were like, well, that's Chantay. That's the one who did CeCe, blah, blah, blah. And so they were like, well, let's talk to her. What's going on? Let's sign her. So that's how I got my deal.
Yeah.
Because of my writing.
Now, how much of the business side did you know about the publishing ownership and giving it away and stuff in those early days? Not
enough. So that's the thing. Like, okay, I had the blessing of being a writer and coming in that way. However, they don't teach you all the fine print. They don't teach you about percentages as far as the publishing. Now, they learned about writing percentage because mostly I was writing everything. So it was mostly 50% me as a writer and as for the writing and the melody and all that, the whole basis of the song. But the tracks, if I'm doing something where someone else created the track, that's easy. It's 50-50. It's just me, you know what I mean? However, the publishing, they don't teach you that. And like so many other artists, I fell into that trap. Wow. And years later, I was fortunate enough to be successful enough to pay myself out with the support of a major label, out of a bad publishing deal, to whereas now I have most of my old publishing that I just so eagerly signed away.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, I've probably spoken to almost 70 recording artists, and I think Donnell Jones was the only, and who else? I think KJ from Naughty by Nature, just because they signed with people who, like Eddie F, taught them the business and said this is what you need to learn. But most everyone else, the same thing.
Oh yeah, because you're so eager, and we're artists, and so it's like it's hard to just turn away. And you're a kid, you're like, oh my God, something on this. And then it's like, well, why don't you just sing on this? And you know what I mean? And you're just eager and you're a little pup. And it's like, and you know, I signed a publishing deal. So yeah.
Oh goodness.
Thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, but most importantly to press the notification bell so that you can be notified when we do have a new interview. Loads to come, but thanks a lot for watching.